Cougar Coaches Show here on Mediacom Channel 22 and ColumbiaCougars.com. It's April. Basketball just finished. Well, let's talk some soccer. Why not? We're your off-season coach, John Klein, the head coach of the men and women's team, but recruiting probably in full force, especially with the high school girls playing across the state and the country right now a little bit for looking for future Cougar players on the women's side and the boys' side too.
Yeah, still working at recruiting. I guess you always are. We're at 20, I think, on both sides, so would still like to add 2 or 3 players on both the men and the women's sides, but have also for the first time made offers to junior girls. So yeah, we've been out looking. You're seeing a lot of soccer. I've been watching a lot of high school soccer. My daughter's in the middle of it, so that forces me to get out to the games. But that's awesome, and you see a bunch of different players, a bunch of different schools. So that's where we are. You know, that job never ends.
Especially on the women's side of things, as I was going over some notes a little bit, and you start writing down some things with some of the big returning players, especially on the defense. You look at Mallory Page and you go, wait, she's going to be a senior? We're going to have, this will be that first group of soccer players that came in as freshmen that will finish their 4-year career. It'll be the first 4-year players, the girls that are going to be seniors this year. It's a special little milestone considering that it seems like it's crazy. It's already the 4th year now for the program.
It is amazing that it's gone that fast, and Mallory even mentioned it the other day. You know, she's excited about next year, and she's curious who the new recruits are, and you know, she just keeps reminding me, oh, it's the last year, and it is amazing how fast it's gone. But tremendous credit to her and Kelly Westshoes and Kelly Ross and Taylor Goddard for the first young girls to come into the program and spend a full 4 years here. So you know, I think they've set the tone for years to come. You know, won conference championships in their first 3 years, took trips to the national tournament, and now I think they've given us a tremendous block to build on.
And again, as you look down you get the jersey numbers on one side, and then the hometowns and the home schools on the other side of the roster and the lineup, and so many local schools with Helias and some other Rockbridge players and Hickman as well. Some other, you know, that's Moberly, a big foundation of this program, not just from here in mid-Missouri, but across the country as well. But really kind of starting from right here in the footprint of the campus.
Yeah, it really is, and I really think it's important for us to recruit the very best student athletes out of mid-Missouri that we can, and we've been able to do that, you know, with the schools that you mentioned, Moberly and Helias and Rockbridge and Hickman, and we continue to do that. Katie Cook, locally from Rockbridge, has committed. Molly Burke from Moberly has committed. We have other ongoing discussions with Hickman, Rockbridge, and Jefferson City players. So I think we'll continue to move that direction.
And same with the guys too. There have been a host of guys that have come in from local schools, current players, Brady Wolf and Danny Baird, who just finished playing as 4-year players for you from here in Rockbridge. Corey McDonald's a Rockbridge player, and you know, several others that are both from mid-Missouri and the state.
There are certainly, you know, on the men's side, we've had our share of internationals, but you know, we've always tried to stay true to the local soccer guy and you know, also St. Louis and Kansas City players. I don't think we've had a Springfield player, but not opposed to that as well. So we like to, you know, we like to recruit the Missouri market. We certainly recruit the JUCO market, and you know, we tend to find an international or 2 from that direction. But of the 5 players on the men's side that we've added, they're all American-born players, and you know, really looking forward to next year's men's group as well.
Now, what is the off season? You know, soccer ends right, you know, around in November, before December starts. What is the off season? While they're still going to school, they finish up the rest of the semester. But what is involved for the juniors or sophomores and freshmen as far as off season training and meetings with coaches and working on the game for next year? What can you do with the players as far as that's concerned?
Well, we get a spring season, so you know, we have 3 spring games coming up for the men. The women, with just a few injuries and a few dropping out of the program, we don't quite have the numbers. We had a smaller roster, so the women were just training 3 or 4 times a week. And amazing, you know, even though they realize there's not going to be any spring games, it is amazing to see how excited they are when they arrive at the soccer training facility, and we get tremendous effort out of them. The guys, you know, they have a little bit more motivation here in the spring. We're going to play Mid-America Nazarene in Missouri Valley this coming weekend. in 2 60-minute matches, and those are two outstanding, top 10 Heart of America opponents, and we're going to play them next year. So both all teams will get a feel for what the other opponents will bring to the table next year. But just a really good test. This weekend we're going to play JUCO, East Central College from Union, Missouri. There's a couple players on that team that we're still considering adding to the program, and then we'll play Culver Stockton to finish it off on April 25th. So the guys get a little bit of a spring schedule. We pretty much give them the summer off, send them with the training program, but and then they come back fresh and hungry and ready to go, and that's just kind of been our routine over the years.
Let's see if anybody can catch Peterson in his 2-mile run this time around. Maybe a little more motivation for some guys to try and catch him, huh?
Yeah, we love everybody to come in as fit as he did, and just be at the top of their game, and certainly, at least if not at the top of their game, in top condition. It's certainly a goal when they get back August 10th.
Look at the facility-wise, the new look to our Marvin Owens. The construction on the buildings is unbelievable. I know they're still finishing some things up inside. I think outside most of the building is done, and the turf has begun going down out there at our Marvin. It looks unbelievable.
The facility looks tremendous. Such a tremendous, and drastic improvement. I've been here 15 years, and we haven't had restrooms and concessions and locker rooms at the field. And now to put the turf in, for somebody who initially was opposed, because I think, soccer players just love the smell of grass, and but we just, we were always protecting it in the spring after snows and rains. We just didn't get a lot of use out of it. I'm looking out there, the turf's being laid today, and I can already see myself just going out for a little jog, taking a soccer ball out on my own. I think you'll see, midday workouts with individuals, working on shooting and different things. I think we're going to get a heck of a lot of good use out of that field.
Most definitely. The soccer team and several of the other sports as well, able to use it, and students in intramurals, and also just on a nice sunny day, a chance to go lay out there on part of the turf, pick a corner with a blanket or whatever, and do some homework outside, and just use that massive space for something else other, because like you said, you did have to protect it because it was what it was, and to see that bright green, such a different contrast to what you're used to seeing with the grass out there.
Yeah, no. It's going to serve the entire, educational community, and we're not going to have rainouts. I guess we could be lightninged out or something, but for the most part, you don't have those type of concerns. We won't postpone practice. We won't. It can rain 4 inches in the morning, and it's going to drain well, and it's just going to get so much use. So a terrific addition to our athletic department.
Now, somebody was asking me the other day with the difference between the turf and the grass. There's really not much of a difference as far as how a team is played versus playing on a grass field versus a turf field. Is there really technically?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to trap a ball, you still
Right.
have to dribble a ball, you still have to shoot. I guess it would play faster than most grass surfaces, but I think when it initially goes down those first 2 or 3 years, I mean, it's very plush, and it's just awesome. I think when it loses a little bit of its edge, and those blades start to fold over. But I think nowadays you don't see that maybe till 6, 7, or 8 years into the life of the turf. So I think it's going to be terrific, and we play on so many turf fields now. It's not uncommon. There can't be a high school or college soccer player that hasn't played, multiple games each year on a turf facility.
And the turf technology-wise, has come so far compared to some of the old flat, stuff you see on Grandpa's boat deck or whatever. That kind of flat is the actual, the grass with the sponge kind of feel underneath it. So it's technical-wise, it's top notch.
No, it'll be great. I mean, there's no excuses for shanking a shot, and you get perfect bounces and perfect rolls, and no, I'm certainly not going to complain about. I played indoor for years and years and years, and I really enjoy the turf surface, so it's going to be good.
I can see the wheels turning already. You're already ready to shut guys down, and girls too, that come over to the sideline, and you wonder why they didn't hit that set piece right, because I hit the turf, coach. It was the ground. No more excuses on that one.
No.
Spring break, I know you guys had fun with some young kids. My son was involved too with your spring skills soccer camp. I know you got some more camps coming up in the summertime. And all that information is online at the website at ColumbiaCougars.com. But I know yourself and Coach Megan Gill and some of the other coaches and players have a lot of fun interacting with some of the younger kids all the way from kindergarten all the way up to some of the high school kids.
No, we had a great spring turnout. I think 35 for a spring break camp is awesome. You know, we'll have up to 150 or 160 boys and girls in our day camps. You know, one big one in June, one big one in July. We have our little kitty kicker camp, which has been a favorite of mine for years and years and years now. And, you know, we'll always have 25 or 30 4- and 5-year-olds out there. And then this year we're going to give a shot at 2 residential camps for the high school girls and the high school guys, you know, primarily for identification purposes. Mm-hmm. We'd like to get a step up in seeing players come to campus that are interested in being part of the Columbia College community in the future.
And those are just for high school only, and I know there's the ones for the girls, and the guys are in July. I think girls are in June.
Yeah.
And all that registration information is again on the website at ColumbiaCougars.com. Like you said, that's another way to identify potential student athletes for Columbia College in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get as many players come that have some interest in Columbia College. That would be our primary goal, to attract players to those camps, at least the residential camps, that are interested in playing collegiate soccer and considering Columbia College as one of those possibilities.
And so many times, like we've said, whether it's basketball or volleyball, really some of your current student athletes and players become some of your best recruiting tools, because they're talking back to their club teammates and high school teammates that they just graduated from and help say, hey, come play for CC.
Yeah, for sure that's how it works. And you know, I think sometimes I'll see it, you know, there's some programs that carry 40 to 60 players, you know, and amazingly, you know, you're talking to players at a school and all of a sudden 5 guys from the same school will show up at another school. We don't quite run our program like that. You know, we keep our numbers smaller, so at times it's difficult, but certainly you look for references and recommendations and rely on the current players to help in the recruiting process.
For both the teams, we'll start with we'll go girls first. What's your, and it's a long ways out, but what's your number one goal for the women for next year?
I think the girls have to be thinking we'd like to win a national tournament game. Certainly you always start with you know, trying to win the conference. Focus on being the top of your conference. If you're at the top of your conference, you'll be in national consideration. So, you know, we cannot overlook that. We have to continue to compete at the very top of the conference. But it would be awfully nice for these girls to take one further step. And you know, they haven't had a ranking yet. Even though they're winning conferences, they're still young in the eyes of the Raiders, and it's time to get that first top 25 rating as well.
And what about for the guys?
The guys, we just need to get back to winning conferences. I think we're 4 years in a row second in the conference. So we continue to compete at the top of the conference. We can go back and look at the moments that cost us these conference championships, and you know, and I think it's again developing a culture that it's just that the guys don't accept coming in second. You know, and they're all fighters, and you know, everybody in this program is laying it all out on the line. But certainly we'd like to get back to competing, and I think we did compete, winning actually conference championships.
And so many of them. I know this past year was a 1-0 loss to, you know, that became the difference. And a couple of years ago it was a couple of handfuls of ties throughout the season that when Hannibal would win one of those conference games. Just like you said, there's been just those little moments where all of a sudden you realize that's how tight the conference is. And I mean, in some regards, it's hats off to how the other schools have also raised their level in the AMC conference.
Oh, it's a competitive conference that maybe doesn't get quite the respect that it deserves. But when you talk about Columbia and Hannibal and Park, and you know, who are consistently at the top of that conference, you always got William Woods competing at a high level in MOBAP, and now you had Lindenwood Belleville, who comes out of nowhere and wins the conference in their first year. You know, it just, every game is a battle on the soccer field. So many of these games are 1-goal games. And, you know, it's really important, you know, for the guys to realize how close it is, and you just cannot have even momentary lapses that cost you a goal. So, yeah, we go, you know, the Lindenwood Belleville game. We lose 1-0. We had opportunities to win that game during the regular season. And if we win it, we win the conference. They won it, they won the conference. Now, we weren't quite as good
Championship
conference
game,
tournament game. They beat us 4-0, and we didn't have our best game. So, but we want to look back and realize how close we were. We want to look back and realize that the performance we gave in the conference tournament final wasn't the level that you need to have when you reach that point of the season. But overall, I think these guys, they enjoyed training, they enjoy the game, and I think when everybody shows up in August, they're going to be ready to go again.
I encourage you, if you got young ones that want to get involved in the soccer camps over the summertime months, get on it there at ColumbiaCougars.com and the athletics links and registration info to get signed up for your boys and girls, so at all age levels. And if you get a chance, drive by Wilkes and Rangeline and take a look at the turf. I guess it's going in this week. And when can you actually start getting feet on that? Do you know yet?
Well, I just asked Drew, and I talked to the guys working. They said they're going to be done next week, and I don't think Drew's given the go-ahead quite that early. So I know the guys would love to get out there before the school year ends, and we do have a couple of spring home games that we're planning on playing over at Cosmo, but I certainly wouldn't be opposed to moving them over here. But at this point, I think it's going to look like it's ready to go next week, but there's certainly still construction going on. The locker room facility and the concession stand isn't done, so it is still a construction zone. So I suspect we're looking more at the middle of May.
And again, in that building, just real quick to go back facility-wise, there'll be locker rooms for the officials for both teams and the press box up top.
Yeah, exactly. 5 locker rooms, referees, 2 varsity locker rooms for women and men, 2 visiting locker rooms, press box, training room for John Barfneck and the players, and a nice big storage area down at the end, a nice garage. So really excited to get it going.
Maintenance will even like it because it's less wear and tear on the Gator machine, driving it back and forth from Southie all the time.
Yeah.
Before we know, it'll be soccer season coming up in the fall of 2015. Coach Klein, thanks for your time. Good luck on the recruiting trail, and we'll see you as come to these spring games.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, Coach John Klein, Columbia Cougars soccer coach, and that wraps up this edition of Cougar Coaches Show, MediaCom Channel 22.